to Aaron Eager, who is the State Weed Coordinator for the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food. So Aaron, if you want to go ahead and pull up your slides, go ahead and do that. His responsibility includes the administration of the Utah Noxious Weed Act and rules supporting the regulatory measures for invasive species. Mr. Eager directs the activities of the State Weed Committee, Weed-Free Forage and Gravel, invasive species mitigation, along with regulatory ties into the seed, feed, nursery, and organic programs statewide. He has spent 19 years in integrated pest management, implementing Utah state law and rule from the county jurisdiction to statewide implementation. Mr. Eager is currently the chair for the Western Weed Coordinating Committee and just finished sitting on the NASMA Board of Directors and is as a member of the Biocontrol Committee, Governance Committee, Standards and Technology Committee, and Legislative Committee. So thanks, Aaron, for being here, and I will turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Lindsay, for that introduction. For the next, I guess, 20 minutes, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach that I want to show you. So I want to show you the why. So when Chuck talked about the where, when, who, what I want to show you is why do we do this? What is the importance of that data? And having it being collected and stored, and how can we use it, from a legislative level down to a state level, down to a county level, down to the public. So I'm going to show you how Utah is using this data, not only to promote our program and get that program out there to the public, but also to increase our funding and how that's actually worked over the last few years. So the first thing, and I'm doing this live, so there's going to be a little bit of a delay, but it's the best way to show it versus a PowerPoint. So just bear with me. So what I'd like to show you is we have our dashboard that we've built of invasive species that are regulated invasive species. And the reason we built this dashboard and are capturing all of this data from EDDMapS and then wanting to promote it through our website and through all of our CWMA websites is to get everybody involved in what's going on in Utah. And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each one of these, but I do want to cover just a few of them. That what we've done is taken the EDDMapS data, and EDDMapS is the core of everything you're seeing. It's what is driving and verifying all of our data. We also bring in the iBio, so all of our biocontrol is here. We have our monitoring that we are attaching to the mapping point. And then we display it on our site, and then we can actually show across the state of Utah, what is positive, what is treated, and what's been eradicated. This is easily used by legislators and by myself and other agencies to see, how are we doing in Utah? Are we making a difference? Should we be appropriating more money towards it? So the first thing I want to kind of go into fairly a little bit and be able to show you is our decisions on how we're showing the data. Now, Utah has data going back way past 2016, but the reason I've chose 2016 forward is because that's when, as a state, we started using the attributes. We started to see that points were being revisited, and we could see what was being treated, what was being eradicated, and then what new points are coming in. So it gives us a really good view, and we can track it across from year to year. So you can see we had 28,000 records in 2022 that were actually treated. And what we want to see is, we know that the red is going to continue. I mean, we hope it starts to go down like we're seeing from 2020 to 23. We want to see the yellow going up, and then we want to see a slight increase in our eradication. And it gives us a very good indicator of how well is public money being spent, whether it's through appropriations through the state, or whether we are utilizing federal money. We have the ability to show what's going on in the state. So when we're looking at the state as a legislator, they can come in, or the public or anyone, and start to look at the state of Utah as a whole and start to get a feel, like in this area, of what's being treated, areas that haven't been treated as much, where new points are coming in. You have the ability to, if this map isn't the map, I mean, we have added a lot of different base maps in here. You know, if topographic is better, or if you like to see imagery, you can change that. We've also incorporated we can turn off the weed points. So if you want to see where all the biocontrol in an integrated pest management system would be, the purples are every biocontrol release that from 16 forward. If you click on any of these, it's pulling the data live from EDDMapS. We know what it was. This was the weevil. If there's a picture attached, that picture will come in. That one didn't have it. Same thing with our monitoring. Our monitoring, we can actually click on each of these. These are permanent transects that we have across the state of Utah. Go back and turn this on. As a state weed coordinator, this gives me a view of what's being treated. And if I'm appropriating money, you know, through counties, CWMAs, private landowners, however that money's going out, I need to be able to see, because I have to report to an oversight committee and to legislators and to various different people that we were good stewards of public money. And so this gives me a really good option to be able to see it. Plus, I know this data has been verified, so it is accurate data. But I can also go in here and go, okay, I'm going to pick on Jerry because he's online. I can look at it from a state. I can zoom in and look at this as a county and see how an actual county is doing. And so I can look at this and go, okay, I know where a lot of projects were funded, where the state put a bunch of money here. So I would expect to see yellow and green, that there is a transition, that we are making a positive impact. I mean, to the point where you can zoom in, right down to the point level, and I'll just click on one. And it's the actual data that was put in, when it was put in, if it had been revisited. The reason there's 1 through 7, anytime this point has been revisited, we're capturing, EDDMapS is capturing that data, but we can actually see it. It's being promoted up through this site. It also gives me the ability to, if I want to go back to all counties, if I, as a weed coordinator, go, where in the state of Utah do I need to, put my efforts, who needs help? It gives me the ability, as I'm going through each of these counties, I can go look at Beaver County and go, obviously, I don't know. This tells me that a lot of data is being taken in Beaver. Is this that the weed supervisor needs to be trained? Is their county need some additional funds? Do they need training? But it really identifies to me where I need to put my efforts across the state of Utah in order to help with the invasive species. And I can also, if I go to, the nice thing is these numbers that are going across, move this up. The numbers that are going across the bottom change as let me move back to Tooele County. So when I go to Tooele County, I can see how many eradicated records just for Tooele County. I can see what's positive, what's been treated. I can then do an assessment on Tooele County to see how they're doing from 2016 up to 2023, and the info hasn't come in yet from 2023. It's just a great tool as to why. Really, we look at the EDDMapS data as our marketing arm. We are able to take this data, tell a good story, and be able to then appropriate additional funds, or at least ask for additional funds in the process. Same thing with the bio. For Twilla County, it looks like they only had one bio, but if we go back to the entire site, we can look at biocontrol for any of the species, how many have been put out. And if we can click on it and get additional information, go back out of this, and it'll show where that is on the map. So this is what I use as a state weed coordinator, and it's what the counties use. So when Jerry or Kevin is at their weed board meeting, they can very easily pull up their county, and we'll go into Box Elder. All of their data for their county is now updated in here, that they can go to their commissioner, and if there's a discussion on getting additional employees, seasonal help, new equipment, or whatever, they're able to show how successful they are in treating and how many acres have been treated. And they can not only show it with a visual, but they can back it up with the actual data from EDDMapS. So the next thing I want to show, I mean, this is the general information that you can get. All of this is the backbone of EDDMapS, and it's why you want to answer the why. Why do we collect points? Why do we spend so much time doing revisits? Because those revisits and collecting these points is really creating a very powerful story for invasive species going forward and being able to get funded for it. We also take it a further, or down a further, even further down, I guess I should say, as to if you want to get to the project level as to what actually is happening on the ground. So we've seen the county, you've seen the state level. We also provide to the public the what is happening for each year, what is being funded, and where is it being funded in the state of Utah. And this gives legislators or anyone a good distribution of where are public funds going by year or by multiple years. You can come in here and actually see what they look like. And again, these, you can zoom in, you can change your base map to get more information. But one of the real powerful tools that comes from this is being able to look at a project and really look at the point data from that project. So I can actually go look up a project for 2023. Let me pull one in. Good one. Right here. If I zoom in on this project, it's going to show me the project boundaries. It gives me all of the federal acres, private acres, state acres, who owns the property underneath this polygon, tells me what biocontrol is being released here, and if there's any monitoring. So what I'm looking at, and what a legislator or a federal agency is, what type of project is this? Is this an IPM project? Does it have multiple elements to it? How much is being eradicated in here versus positive? Gives you a whole lot of information, and then you get a full description, tells you who it is, what species they were targeting, and then it also gives you the ability to read more on this. So what we've done is created story maps or storyboards of this that break out what's happening. We can include, YouTube videos. But what we want to do is push all of this information out to the public and use this as a marketing tool to show the work that's being done. And I know I'm scrolling fast, but I want to get to the end. So this shows you our monitoring based off of the point data, what we're seeing in the field. We also have, most of our monitoring is 3 or 4 years that we do. Oops, move that down. So we can actually show, and anyone can go to this website and see are we being successful or not from this? You can also download this as a full report instead of a web viewer. But what it does is it is taking our information based off of EDDMapS data, and it's pushing it out, and it's pushing it forward to the public, to people who are providing money. And to give you an idea on the money, our program started, or in Utah, the invasive species program started with $1 million appropriated. That's now at 3 million appropriated. So we've been able to increase our, over the years, be able to take it from 1 to 2 to 3, 3 million, and then also to be able to encourage the federal partners to start putting money towards invasive species also. So this gives you an idea now at the project level, what you can actually do with the EDDMapS points. And you can zoom in and get all the information. If you want to come in and see what this looks like, and say you want to change the base map to more of just imagery and actually look at it. If you want to look at what was being monitored, you can look at the monitoring through here, when it was monitored, you know, what they actually found, all the way to, you know, point data is listed in here, and also the biocontrol. And so gives us a lot of information, gives us a lot of tools and the ability to read more and do download and push this information through our UW, or our website, UDAF's website. And then this is promoted out through social media. The last one I want to show you is the other version, which is our federal. So that was all state money. As state money is coming in, that is appropriated, we show it in that one. We also have a federal one that we are pushing to our federal partners. And the reason we're doing this is the federal, we want to give them some additional information that is not in the state one. So the dashboard is a little bit different of how we're able to do this. But the federal, they want to know who the partners are and how much money is going to this project. Is it a 1-to-1 match? Is it a 2-to-1 match? There's additional information on the integrated pest management. They want to know if it's being inventoried. Let me pull this up. How much is herbicide versus inventoried versus monitored, revegetated, or protected? So we're able to capture that into the system. Again, we can show where every project is sitting, but it puts it in this over here, whether it's the U.S. Forest Service or BLM, tells how much money is being contributed. But there's a lot of other features in this dashboard that we want the forest or the federal partners to be able to use. If they're looking for something specific, they can come in and say, look, all I want to see is forest health projects. So they don't have to look at 80. It went from 128 down to 80, shows where those are. Or maybe they say, no, we just want to look at the BIL, and it's down to 23 now projects. Or you can filter by biocontrol. How many of these had biocontrol? Only 17. How many of them were herbicide? Down to 9. It changes the dynamics and allows them to filter. But for the most part, it is really for Utah, Carol Randall, that's who the Forest Service is, who our person. This is meant so that Carol can come out at any point and say, I need to do a report, what's happening in Utah, and be able to say, I want to see for this specific year, forest health projects, and then get all of the information that she needs to get. And in being able to provide it for her up front as live as things are happening, what we're hoping, and I think it'll play out, is that as future money comes, the federal agencies will know, look, we should really be looking at Utah because they provide the information that helps us do our job also. And so we want to get this information out to them. And the same thing in these ones, you know, we have the ability to look at the point, see how much has been treated. You can either have a storyboard on some of them, or it just goes into a full download, you know, report that you can do. That one is and then download it as a PDF. Let me go back to the Utah Hub. So those are the three areas of how we are utilizing it. We utilize the weed points specifically for the state weed coordinator, where I can look at what's happening across the counties, what's being tracked, and I can verify to the projects that I'm funding. We use the projects dashboard to show what's happening on the ground, and then the federal one to do the same thing. But the point is all of this we feel really comfortable with, because we know that the data that is backing it up. So we can do the data, but if we're questioned, like through a grandma request or through an oversight committee, I'm very confident that I can demonstrate this with the data, and that's verifiable data and that it is accurate. I think I'm getting close to, there's a few minutes left. I'm not going to go into all of the different the story maps that we have, but you've seen one of them. The garlic mustard one was but really this is the why. If I was to say, why do we do this? Because invasive species money is hard to get. There are a lot of people competing for it. Our best chance of doing well is to be able to show how good we are and what we're doing. And I'm telling you, EDDMapS data, there's a reason to collect it. There's a reason to use EDDMapS Pro, because this has given us a huge tool in our toolbox to be able to secure additional funding, I guess I would say. So, any questions?
Thanks so much, Aaron. I think we are going to keep things moving. So if you have any questions for Aaron about the work that he's doing, this fantastic project, you can go ahead and add those in the Q&A. And Aaron, if you want to just take a look there for anything.
Yep.
And you can go ahead and stop sharing your screen.